So I was pretty determined to film a book review on this book because it dragged for so long. I read it over the past couple of weeks and I really had hope for it because I liked the synopsis, but then, ay ay ay. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Rachel here. As always, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a thing. You can also like this video so that it is fair to other viewers as well. Today, from the title of the video, you can tell that I'm going to be doing a book review on Welcome to Lagos, written by Chibundu Onuzo. So let's get started. As I said earlier, I read this book for quite a number of weeks, and not because the book was particularly bad or anything like that, but it just dragged on because I had so many things to do, and I really had hope for this book, you guys. I really did, because the synopsis was quite captivating and it just got me into the book, like, okay, let me see how this will work. But oh my goodness, you guys, I almost did not finish this book, you guys, but I was just trying. I'm like, okay, let me see at least what even happens in the end so that I can feel like, okay, yes, the end was worth it, and you know, you can keep on going. I had previously read Chibundu Onuzo's The Spider King's Daughter, and I thought it was a lovely synopsis as well. Getting into the book, I had a lot of reservations, but I'm like, okay, well, that's her debut novel. Let's see whether things will change as she writes something. So I think this is the second book that she wrote. I can't remember what year it was. Anyway, let's get into this book. I'm going to read out the synopsis of the book and you'll see what caught me when I actually wanted to read this book. 5 runaways ride the bus from Bayelsa to a better life in a mega city. They are unlikely allies: a private, a housewife, an officer, a militant, and a young girl. They share a need for escape and a dream for the future. Soon they will also share a burden none could have expected, but for now the 5 sit quietly with their hopes as the billboards fly past and shout, "Welcome to Lagos." So like this synopsis says, is about 5 different individuals and they run away from different aspects of their lives. There's a housewife who runs away from an abusive husband. There's a private and an officer who run away from the Nigerian army. A lot of people run away from different things, but they're all within Bayelsa, and then they all say, oh, they're going to Lagos. Some it's a last minute decision, some just decide, okay, they're going to leave. So in terms of the synopsis and in terms of the plot, I thought that this was such a brilliant story idea, and I was interested to see how this story idea would be executed. So now, in terms of the plot, I actually liked it a little bit, to be honest. Like, I like the fact that these are 5 different people who come from different backgrounds, and then their lives sort of merge in a bus as they go towards Lagos, trying to get either a better life for themselves or just to see what else is out there. So in terms of that, I really liked it. Up until halfway of the book, I thought that the plot was good. Next minute, I started seeing some weird things inside it, and I'm like, okay, what's going on there? I just felt like it was climbing well, and then all of a sudden it just derailed from the middle of the book, and I couldn't gather what the plot was about anymore. I couldn't get what the end, like, I didn't get what the book was about anymore. That's just the truth when I got to the half of the book, because some new characters were introduced, granted, no problem, and I could see the author's attempt to sort of bind these 5 characters together. Like they said in the synopsis, they also share a burden that they could not have expected. So I saw the author's attempt in trying to bind these 5 characters together to sort of get that thing of, okay, yes, they couldn't have expected this, and this is what eventually happens. And I'm trying so hard not to give anything away in case this is something that you want to read. And there was a lot of, you know, introduction of Nigerian politics and things like that, but honestly, from halfway of the book, I lost the plot. Like, I didn't really get what was going on. I like the fact that the 5 of them came together to basically solve whatever burden that it was on. But, and this is where I had this dilemma. You know how people write fiction and you're like, oh, this is not realistic. And you're like, really, what is realistic within the confines of fiction? Like, the idea of fiction is that it is limitless in terms of what your imagination can possibly conjure. So it's more like, this is the author's idea as to what is fiction. Then you're a reader and you're saying that something is unrealistic. Because really, like, there was something that happened in the book when they all became homeless. They had to find somewhere to stay, and they ended up staying in somewhere that they didn't even know who the owner of the house was. They eventually got to know, and there was a lot of money involved in what they were doing. I'm trying so hard to like not give too much away. And then these are homeless, hungry people who are trying to look for new lives for themselves. And the first thing they think is oh, this amount of money, we're going to use it to change people's lives. I'm like, really? Like, would people really do that if they stumbled on that money and at that point in time they needed it? So I'm like, okay. But I allowed it because I'm like, you know what, you as a reader, you're not going to say, oh, it's unrealistic because it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go. It's fiction, and that's what fiction is about. It can be unrealistic. You can create your own worlds or your own characters. So I thought the plot was okay. I liked the synopsis. I liked the story idea. In terms of the execution of the plot, I didn't particularly like it. I was just wondering where different things were going, especially at the halfway mark of the book. Now, the setting of the book, as the title of the book says, Welcome to Lagos. I thought that the author did a nice, like, she tried. She actually made a nice attempt in bringing Lagos to life, no doubt. But I felt like this book was edited in a way that, like, the description of Lagos was so shallowly written. I don't know if shallowly is like a word. Like, it was such a shallow description of Lagos, and I felt like some unnecessary stereotypes were included there just to make it have that more Lagos Nigerian feel, like maybe corruption or bribery. And I'm like, there's so much more to Lagos than all of that. Even if you're trying to capture the hustle and bustle of Lagos, like, there was so much more to how it was described. And I felt like the imagery, other than the fact that I know so much about Lagos and I grew up in Lagos, I've lived in Lagos for a while, the imagery didn't do much for me. So somebody like me that may have been to Lagos, I didn't really mind because I already knew maybe where she was going to. But in a way, I didn't really feel it. That's just the truth. I didn't feel it. I thought that it was quite shallow, but I would commend her. I thought that she tried in bringing Lagos to life. So if you've never been to Lagos, then maybe, yes, you may be like, oh my goodness, yes, the hustle and bustle, it's a mega city, I really enjoyed it and all of that. In terms of the characterization, I thought that the author did a good job, fairly good job in developing the major characters. That's the 5 runaways now, right? I think she did a fairly good job. I was not able to connect to any of the characters, but I thought that she tried in trying to describe them and also getting their background. But man, it was just all over the place for me. And what on earth are unnecessary characters doing in this book? Like, there were just too many characters at some point, too many irrelevant characters that honestly added no value to the book. Like, they could have like the book could have been done without them, and I just felt like it was so unnecessary. And trying to remember everybody's name, honestly, if you read this book, you came out of it, did a couple of things for some days, and you came back into this book, you would probably like lose track of what you were reading, who is who and what's going on, except for the 5 main characters. So I didn't really understand what the whole idea about having those extra characters were. Honestly, you guys, I did not really understand. Like, I need somebody to explain to me why there were so many characters in this book and who were not even valuable to the whole development of the book. Like, honestly, I did not like it at all. Anyway, moving on to the writing style of the book. The language of the book was easy to understand. It flowed to a large extent and it was okay. Now, this book was written in 3rd person point of view, but oh my gosh, like, as in, it would have been a massive hit if it was written in 1st person point of view, from the point of view of these 5 people. Because even the way the 3rd person narrative was written, like I said, I felt like at some point halfway in the book, the editor just gave up and was like, screw it, let's just run with it, let's just print, or whatever they do in the publishing world. Because I'm like, after some time, like, the dialogue was not even going, like, you know, when 3 people are dialoguing, you don't even know who is saying what at some point. You don't even put the names at the end of the quotation marks or how you describe that somebody is saying something. You can have a conversation between 4 people and all you just have is the different sentences of what they're saying, and you don't know who is saying what. And you're like, really though, like, I get that you're trying, what is going on here? It was just a mess for me, to be honest. And I guess I was disappointed because I was expecting more. I would have really, really loved to see this book written in 1st person point of view. And even the way it was written, like I was saying, in the 3rd person narrative, it looked like it wanted to be 1st person, but it was just struggling to be 3rd person. And afterwards, there were like quite a number of, as in, unnecessary errors that I was just seeing in the book after the halfway mark. And I'm like, really, is this what, even the way the chapters were arranged, the way the chapters were broken up into different places, like the point of view, like if you're doing a 3rd person point of view, do a 3rd person point of view. Why are you like shifting angles from different characters and trying to write it in the 3rd person narrative? Like, how does that, I don't even understand. Like, I did not vibe with this at all, with this writing style. I was not loving it, you guys. The ending of this book what do I think about the ending of this book? The ending of this book made me feel like, and you guys remember that I had been dragging on for weeks saying, okay, at least maybe the ending will make everything worth it. I got to the end of this book and I'm like, is that it? Like, is that the end? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, what just happened? Like, did you guys just cut off, like, okay, we're tired of just, you know, putting things together, let's just end it here? Like, why? Like, why? The ending was less than satisfactory and just made me think that I should have as well have not even finished the book in the first place. But I wanted to have like a full grasp of what this book was about. One thing I struggle with Chibundu Onuzo is that I feel like she has amazing story ideas, but the executions always fall short. Like this Spider King daughter, I thought it was such a good story idea. Like it's something that I hadn't really thought about. And living in Lagos, it made me, after I read the book, I started thinking about some of the things that she had explored in that book. And this also happened to, like, she explores very unusual themes in her book. And this one, you know, covered themes like corruption, bribery, politics, friendship, camaraderie, and a lot of other things that later developed between the characters. But it was so hard for me to place my finger on it. I'm just like, this book could have been better executed generally in terms of everything. Like I'm just trying to think. The only good thing I liked about this book was the synopsis of the book and the story idea. Every other thing was flat for me, and I'm definitely going to give it 1.5/5, you guys. And I know I sound really harsh about this review, but I was just really expecting more. I really was expecting more from this, and it just didn't deliver. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Welcome to Lagos. I said I was going to film a review because I suffered through this book and I did not DNF it. So I needed to rant about it for at least 10 minutes. So yeah, if you're interested in reading it, fine. If you've read it, please let me know your experiences in the comments below. But that's my own opinion of this book. I felt like it could have been better. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.